Good morning. It's Friday, January 12th, and I'll be reading Genesis 32 through 34 to you. Genesis chapter 32. So Jacob went on his way, and the angel of God met him. When Jacob saw them, he said, "This is God's camp." And he called the name of that place Mahanaim. Then Jacob sent a messenger before him to Esau, his brother, in the land of Seir, the country of Edom, and commanded them, saying, "Speak thus to my lord Esau, thus your servant Jacob says, I have dwelt with Laban and stayed there until now. I have oxen, donkey, flocks, male and female servants. I have sent to tell my lord that I may have favor in your sight." Then the messenger returned to Jacob, saying, "We came to your brother Esau, and he is also coming to meet you, and 400 men are with him." So Jacob was greatly afraid and distressed, and divided the people that were with him, and the flocks and the herds and the camels into two companies. And he says, if Esau comes to the one company and attacks it, then the other company will be left, that is left will escape. Then Jacob said, "O God of my father Abraham, God of my father Isaac, the Lord who said to me, 'Return to your country and your family, and I will deal well with you,' I am not worthy of the least of all the mercies of all the truth which you have shown your servant. For I have crossed over the Jordan with my staff, and now I have become two companies. Deliver me, I pray, from the hand of my brother, from the hand of Esau, for I fear him, lest he come and attack me, the mother with the children. For you said, I will surely treat you well and make your descendants as the sand of the sea, which cannot be numbered for a multitude." So he lodged there that same night, and took what came to his hand as a present for Esau his brother: 200 female goats and 20 male goats, 200 ewes and 20 rams, 30, 30 milk camels with their colts, 40 cows, 10 bulls, 20 female donkeys, and 10 foals. And he delivered them to the hand of his servant, every drove by itself, and said to the servant, "Pass over me, and put some distance between successive droves." And he commanded the first one, saying, "When Esau my brother meets you, and asks you, saying, 'To whom do you belong, and where are you going, and who are these in front of you?' you shall say, 'They are your servant Jacob's, and it is a present sent to my lord Esau. And behold, he also is behind us.'" So he commanded the second and the third and all that followed the droves, saying, "In this manner you shall speak to Esau when you find him, and also say, 'Behold, your servant Jacob is behind us.' For he said, 'I will appease him with the present that goes before me, and afterward I will see his face, and perhaps he will accept me.' So the presents went on over before him, but he himself lodged that night in the camp. And he arose that night, and took his two female servants and his 11 sons, and crossed over the ford Jabbok. And he took them and sent them over the brook, and sent over what he had. And then Jacob was left alone. A man wrestled with him until the break of day. And now he saw that he did not prevail against him, and he touched the socket of his hip, and the socket of his hip was out of joint. And he wrestled with him, and he said, "Let me go, for the day breaks." But he said, I will not let you go unless you bless me. And so he said to him, what is your name? And he said, Jacob. And he said, your name shall no longer be called Jacob, but Israel, for you have struggled with God and with man and have prevailed. But Jacob asked, saying, tell me your name, I pray. And he said, why is it that you ask my name? And he blessed him there. So Jacob called the name of the place Peniel, for I have seen God face to face, and my life is preserved. And just as he crossed over Peniel, the sun rose, and he limped on his hip. Therefore, to this day, the children of Israel do not eat the muscle of the muscle that shrank, which is on his hip socket, because he touched the socket of Jacob's hip. Genesis 33. Now Jacob lifted his eyes and looked, and there Esau coming with him were 400 men. So he divided his children among Leah and Rachel and the two maidservants, and he put the maidservants and their children in front of Leah, and her children behind Rachel, and Joseph last. And they crossed over before them, and they bowed himself to the ground 7 times till he came near his brother. But Esau ran to meet him and embraced him and fell on his neck and kissed him, and they wept. And he lifted his eyes and saw women and children and said, who are these with you? And he said, the children of whom God has graciously given your servant. And then he said, the maidservants came near there, and their children bowed down, and Leah also came near there with her children, and they bowed down. And afterward Joseph and Rachel came near, and they bowed down. And then Esau said, what do you mean by all this company which I met? Oh, I'm sorry, let me try it again. Then Esau said, what do you mean by all this company which I met? And he said, these are to find favor in your sight, in the sight of my Lord. But Esau said, I have enough, my brother. Keep what you have for yourself. And Jacob said, no, please. I have now found, if I have now found favor in your sight, receive my present from my hand, inasmuch as I have seen your face, as I had seen the face of God, and you were pleased with me. Please take my blessing that this is brought to you, because God has dealt graciously with me, and because I have enough. So he urged him, and he took it. Then Esau said to him, let us make our journey, and let us go, and I will go before you. But Jacob said, my Lord knows that the children are weak, and the flocks and the herds which are nursing and are with me. And if the men should drive them hard, one day all the flocks will die. Please let my Lord go on ahead, and his servant and I will lead on slowly at a pace which the livestock can go before me, and the children are able to endure until I come to my Lord in Seir. And Esau said, now let me leave with you some of the people who are with me. But he said, what need is there? Let me find favor in the sight of my Lord. So Esau returned this day on his way to Seir, and Jacob journeyed to Succoth and built himself a house and made booths for his livestock, and therefore the name of the place is called Succoth. Jacob comes to Canaan. Then Jacob came safely to the city of Shechem, which is in the land of Canaan, which came from Padan Aram, and he pitched his tent before the city, and he brought the peril of the and he brought and he bought the parcel of land where he pitched his tent from the children of Hamor, Shechem's father, for 100 pieces of money. Then he erected an altar there and called it El Elo Israel. The Dinah incident, Genesis chapter 34. Now Dinah, the daughter of Leah, whom had borne Jacob, went out to see the daughters of the land, and when Shechem, the son of Hamor, the Hivite, prince of the country, saw her, he took her and lay with her and violated her. And his soul was strongly attracted to Dinah, the daughter of Jacob. And he loved the young woman and spoke kindly to the young woman. So Shechem spoke to his father, Hamor, saying, Get me this young woman as a wife. And Jacob heard that he had defiled Dinah, his daughter, and now his sons were with his livestock in the field. So Jacob held his peace until they came. And then Hamor, the father of Shechem, went out to speak to Jacob, to speak with him. And the sons of Jacob came in from the field, and they heard it. And the men were grieved and very angry because he had done this disgraceful thing in Israel by laying with Jacob's daughter, a thing which ought not be done. But Hamor spoke with him, saying, The soul of my son Shechem longs for your daughter. Please give her to him as a wife, and make marriage with us, and give your daughters to us, and take daughters to yourselves. So you shall dwell with us, and the land shall be before you. Dwell and trade in it, and acquire possessions for yourself in it. And then Shechem said to her father and brothers, Then Shechem said to her father and brothers, Let me find favor in your eye, and whatever you say to me, I will give you. Ask me ever so much a dowry and a gift, and I will give it to you according to what you say to me. But give me the young woman as a wife. But the sons of Jacob answered Shechem and Hamor his father, and spoke deceitfully because he had defiled Dinah's sister. And they said to him, We cannot do this thing to our sister, to one who is uncircumcised, for that would be a reproach to us. But on this condition we will consent, if you will become as we are. If every male of you is circumcised, then we will give our daughter to you, and we will take your daughters to us, and we will dwell with you, and you will become one people. But if you will not heed us and be circumcised, then we will take our daughters and be gone. The words pleased Tamar, and the word pleased Hamor and Shechem his son. So the young men did not delay to do the thing because he delighted in Jacob's daughter. He was more honorable than all the household of his father. And Hamor and Shechem his son came to the gate of the city and spoke with the men there, saying, These men are at peace with us. Therefore, let them dwell in the land and trade for it, for indeed the land is large enough. For let them and let us take their daughters to us as wives, and let us give them our daughters. Only this condition will the men consent to dwell with us, to be one people. If every male among us is circumcised as they are circumcised, will not their livestock and their property and every animal there be ours? Only let us consent to them, and they will dwell with us. And they also went out of the gate of the city and hid Hamor and Shechem, his son, and every male was circumcised, all who went out of the gate of his city. And now it came to pass on the third day, when they were in pain, that two sons of Jacob, Simeon and Levi, Dana's brothers, each took his sword and came boldly upon the city and killed all the males. And they killed Hamor and Shechem his son with the edge of the sword, and took Dinah from Shechem's house and went out. And the sons of Jacob came upon the slain and plundered of the city, because their sister had been defiled. And they took their sheep and their oxen and their donkey that was in the city and that was in the field, and all their wealth, and all their little ones, and their wives they took captive, and plundered even all that was in the houses. Then Jacob said to Simeon and Levi, "You had troubled me by making me obnoxious among the inhabitants of the land, among the Canaanites and the Perizzites, and since I am few in number, they will gather themselves against to kill me, and I shall be destroyed in my household and I." But they said, "Should he treat our sister like a harlot?" Excuse me for being emotional. I was emotional because of the great thing that happened in the scriptures when Jacob and Esau were reunited, and that was beautiful to me. And it was a thing that you don't see happen every day. And I have been blessed uh, to see these things, and sometimes I get emotional when I look at the working of God in the midst of His people, because I serve a people who still um, do these kinds of amends today, and God moves mightily often on their behalf. And so I apologize for being emotional. I really don't apologize for being emotional at the reading. I apologize if it was weird to you when I got emotional. Of course, we haven't been quite doing this 2 weeks yet, so I suspect that this is the first of many times I'll be emotional because of the scripture. Thank you and have a great day.